She booked a fake date to save face, unaware the man was a millionaire. Hello everyone. Before we begin today's story, I have a small favor to ask. Please hit subscribe and turn on the notification bell so you never miss our channel's new videos. It is quick, it is free, and it is the best way to support us in bringing you more dramatic stories. Your support truly means the world to us. Where are you watching from? Please drop your city or country in the comments below. Thank you very much. Now, let us go back to our main character. She is standing in front of the bathroom mirror, staring at her reflection longer than she should. The dress she chose looks perfect from a distance, but up close, she can see every small flaw. She smooths the fabric over her hips, takes a slow breath, then exhales like she has been holding it in all day. Tonight is not about romance. Tonight is about survival. Her phone vibrates again on the marble counter. Another message from her mother. Another reminder about the engagement party downtown. Another line that says, "Everyone will be there. Do not embarrass yourself." She closes her eyes. The truth is simple and humiliating. She does not have a date. She does not have a boyfriend, and she does not have the emotional energy to walk into that room alone, while her successful cousins, married friends, and confident ex-boyfriends smile at her with polite pity. She tells herself she should not care, but she does. Outside, the city hums with Friday night energy. Headlights blur past the window. Somewhere across town, people are already laughing over cocktails that cost more than her groceries for the week. She grabs her purse, checks her reflection one last time, and heads out. The bar is not loud, not quiet, just neutral enough for people who want to disappear. She sits at the counter, orders a soda water, and pretends she is waiting for someone. That is when she notices him. He is sitting 2 stools away, dark jacket, clean shoes, calm posture, not flashy, not sloppy, just a man who looks like he belongs anywhere he sits. She does not know his name. She does not know his story. She only knows one thing. She is running out of time. Her phone buzzes again, a photo from the group chat. The venue is already filling up. Her mother adds a single sentence underneath. "We saved a seat for you." Her heart sinks. She looks at the man beside her, then back at her phone, then at him again. This is reckless. This is desperate. This is completely out of character. But so is walking into that party alone. She turns toward him, her voice steady even though her hands are not. "I know this is strange," she says, "but I need a favor." He looks at her, surprised but not alarmed. She swallows. "I need a date, just for tonight. I will pay you." Silence hangs between them for a moment. The bartender pretends not to listen. The music continues like nothing important is happening. Finally, he speaks. "For how long?" 2 hours, she says quickly. "One event. No strings, no expectations." He studies her face as if deciding something much larger than this moment. "And after that?" he asks. "After that," she says, "we walk away, like this never happened." He nods once. "All right," he says calmly. "I can do that." Relief crashes into her chest so fast it almost hurts. She smiles, not knowing she has just made the most important mistake of her life. Because the man she just hired to save her pride is not a stranger at all, and he is not here by accident. She follows him out of the bar 10 minutes later. The night air is cooler than she expects, brushing against her bare arms as the door closes behind them. The city feels louder now, sharper, like it knows something important is about to happen. They stop under the streetlight. "I should probably say this out loud," she says, adjusting the strap of her purse. "This is strictly an arrangement. I do not want misunderstandings." He nods. "I agree." She hesitates, then adds, "My name is Claire." He looks at her for a brief moment, as if storing the name somewhere safe. "Nice to meet you, Claire," he says. "I am Ethan." The way he says it is calm. Too calm for a man who just agreed to pretend to care about a stranger. She pulls out her phone and shows him the invitation. An upscale engagement party at a private event space overlooking the river. Black tie optional. Guests expected to arrive as couples. "We arrive together," she explains. "You stand next to me. You smile. You let people assume whatever they want." "And if they ask questions?" Ethan asks. "You keep it simple," she says. "We met recently. We are taking things slow. Nothing dramatic." He gives a small smile. That should not be difficult. They walk toward her car, their steps awkwardly synchronized, like two people learning a dance without music. Inside the car, Claire starts the engine but does not pull away yet. She reaches into her purse and takes out an envelope. "This is for you," she says, holding it out. "Half now, half when it is over." Ethan does not touch it right away. "You do not have to do that now," he says. "I insist," she replies. "This is a transaction. I need it to stay that way." He accepts the envelope, sliding it into the inside pocket of his jacket without counting it. "That covers the agreement," he says. "What about the rules?" Claire exhales, grateful for his professionalism. "Rule 1, she begins. "We do not share personal details beyond what is necessary." "Understood." "Rule 2, she continues. "No physical affection unless it is unavoidable. Holding hands is fine. Anything else, we discuss first." He nods again. "And Rule 3, she says quietly. "When tonight ends, we walk away. No follow-up, no expectations." Ethan studies her face, noticing the tension she is trying to hide behind control. "All right," he says. 3 rules." She pulls out of the parking space and merges into traffic. As they drive, Claire explains the people they might encounter. Her mother, who measures success by appearances. Her ex-boyfriend, who never misses an opportunity to look superior. A room full of people who smile first and judge later. Ethan listens without interrupting. At a red light, he says, "If anyone is disrespectful, do you want me to respond or let it go?" She glances at him, surprised by the question. "Respond," she says after a moment, "but do not escalate." He nods. "I can do that." They arrive at the venue just as the valet opens her door. Music drifts out through the glass entrance. Laughter follows. Claire's chest tightens. "This is where it starts," she says. Ethan steps out, straightens his jacket, then turns toward her. Without asking, he offers his arm. She hesitates only a second before taking it. The moment her hand rests on his sleeve, something shifts. Not romance, not comfort. Just the strange feeling of not standing alone. They walk inside together. Heads turn. Eyes linger. Whispers begin. And for the first time that night, Claire lifts her chin and keeps walking, unaware that the man beside her is playing a role far more familiar than she could imagine. They do not make it 5 steps inside before someone calls her name. "Claire!" Her shoulders stiffen, but Ethan feels it and slows just enough to steady her pace. She turns and forces a smile. Her mother is standing near the bar, perfectly dressed, eyes already scanning Ethan from head to toe. The look is familiar. Assessment first, approval later. "Mom," Claire says. "You remember Ethan." The pause is brief but loaded. "Of course," her mother replies, extending a hand. "I did not realize you were bringing someone." Ethan takes her hand with an easy confidence that catches both women off guard. "I am glad to finally meet you," he says. "Claire has told me a lot about you." That is not true, but it sounds like it should be. Her mother's expression softens, just slightly. "Well," she says, "anyone important to my daughter is important to me." She steps aside, already signaling to the room that Claire is no longer alone. As they move deeper into the space, Claire becomes aware of the shift. Conversations glance toward them, then back again. People are watching, recalculating. Ethan does not cling. He does not dominate. He stays exactly where he needs to be. When someone interrupts, he waits. When someone questions, he answers without oversharing. When a joke turns sharp, he redirects it without raising his voice. It is subtle, and it works. They stop near a tall table where her ex-boyfriend is holding court, laughing too loudly, one arm draped around his fiancée. "Claire," he says, surprised. "I did not know you were coming." She feels the old instinct to shrink. Ethan does not let it happen. "Good evening," he says, extending his hand. "Ethan." Her ex hesitates, then shakes it. "I am engaged," he adds unnecessarily. Ethan smiles. "Congratulations. That is a big step. No competition. No insecurity. Just calm certainty." The conversation moves on. The moment passes. Claire realizes something then. He is not pretending confidence. He is practicing restraint. Later, when the speeches begin, they stand near the edge of the room. Claire listens with half an ear, her attention drifting back to the weight of Ethan's presence beside her. She is aware of him in ways she did not plan. The way he leans slightly toward her when someone approaches. The way he lowers his voice when he speaks to her alone. The way he never once checks his phone. "You are doing well," he says quietly. She exhales. "I am surviving." "That is not the same thing," he replies. She looks at him then, really looks at him. "Why did you say yes?" she asks. He does not answer right away. "Sometimes," he says slowly, "people just need someone to stand next to them." The honesty of it unsettles her. Before she can respond, her mother returns, eyes shining. "I am so glad you came," she says to Ethan. Claire seems happier. Claire almost laughs at that. Almost. As the night stretches on, the lines blur. They stop checking the time. They forget the rules, just a little. When the music changes and couples drift toward the dance floor, Claire tenses. "We do not have to," she says quickly. Ethan looks at her, searching her face. "Do you want to?" he asks. She considers it. The eyes watching, the expectations, the safety of saying no. Then she nods. They step onto the floor. His hand rests lightly at her back. Nothing possessive, nothing rehearsed. She fits against him without thinking. For a moment, the noise fades. This is when it becomes dangerous, because this does not feel like pretending anymore. The dance ends before either of them realizes how long it lasted. Applause ripples through the room as the song fades, pulling them back into reality. Claire steps away first, a little too quickly, smoothing her dress as if it suddenly needs fixing. "Thank you," she says, forcing a light tone. "That was helpful." Ethan gives a small nod. "You did well." They leave the floor and move toward the terrace doors, the cool air a relief against the heat of the room. Outside, the river reflects the city lights in broken lines, restless and bright. Claire rests her hands on the railing. "This is where it ends," she says. "We stayed longer than planned." Ethan does not argue. "All right." She turns to face him, reaching into her purse for the envelope with the rest of the money. Her fingers brush the edge, then pause. "You were convincing," she says. "More than convincing." He watches her carefully. "I was only doing what you asked." "That is the problem," she replies. "You did more." She hands him the envelope. This time, he takes it and holds it for a moment before slipping it into his pocket. "If that is everything," he says, "I will call a car for you." "I can drive," she answers quickly. He nods again, stepping back just enough to give her space. No protest, no attempt to linger. That restraint makes it harder. They walk back inside together, slower now, aware of the eyes that still follow them. At the exit, her mother catches up one last time. "Dinner next week," she says brightly, already assuming. "The four of us." Claire opens her mouth to correct her. Ethan speaks first. "We would love that," he says smoothly. "We will check our schedules." Claire looks at him, startled. Her mother smiles, satisfied, and disappears back into the crowd. As soon as she is gone, Claire turns to Ethan. "That was not part of the agreement," she says. "No," he admits, "but it kept things simple." She studies him, frustration and gratitude tangled together. "You make it very easy to lie," she says. Ethan meets her gaze. "You make it very easy to want to help." The words hang between them, heavier than either expected. Outside, the valet brings her car around. Claire opens the door, then hesitates. "I should go," she says. "Yes," Ethan agrees. She gets in, starts the engine, then rolls down the window. "This was supposed to be fake," she says quietly. "You understand that, right?" "I do," he answers. "That is why it works." She laughs once, sharp and confused. "Good night, Ethan." "Good night, Claire." She drives away before she can change her mind. Ethan watches the taillights disappear, his expression unreadable. He reaches into his jacket, pulls out the envelope, and finally looks inside. The amount barely registers. Across town, Claire pulls into her driveway and sits in the dark, hands resting on the steering wheel. The house is silent. No messages, no new expectations. She should feel relieved. Instead, she feels unsettled. Her phone vibrates. A single text from an unknown number. I hope you got home safely. She stares at the screen. She did not give him her number. Claire locks the phone and leans back in her seat, heart pounding for reasons she does not yet understand. Tonight was supposed to end everything. Instead, it opened a door she never meant to walk through. Claire does not sleep much that night. She lies awake, replaying moments she did not plan to remember. The way Ethan stood between her and embarrassment. The way he listened without interrupting. The way he said her name like it mattered. By morning, she convinces herself it was nothing, just a role, just good acting. She gets ready for work, pours coffee she barely drinks, and checks her phone out of habit. No new messages. Relief and disappointment arrive at the same time. At the office, the day moves quickly. Emails, meetings, polite conversations that feel hollow after the night before. She tells herself this is normal. This is her real life. Around noon, her phone buzzes again. Unknown number. I hope this is not inappropriate. Your mother insisted I make sure you are free for dinner next week. Claire freezes. She stares at the message, then at the sender's name now visible at the top of the screen. Ethan. Her heart pounds, equal parts irritation, and something else she does not want to name. She types back slowly. You did not have to do that. The reply comes almost immediately. I know, but it seemed important to you. She exhales, leans back in her chair, and closes her eyes for a moment. This is getting complicated. That evening they meet again. Not at a party, not in front of anyone else. Just coffee at a quiet place halfway between their lives. This is not part of the deal, Claire says as soon as they sit down. There is no deal anymore, Ethan replies calmly. You paid me. It ended. Then why are you here? He considers the question. Because I wanted to be. That honesty disarms her more than any excuse could. They talk longer than planned, about nothing important, about everything that somehow feels important anyway. He asks about her work. She asks about his. His answers are careful, vague, but never dishonest. When they part, there is no kiss, no promise, just a lingering pause that says enough. Days pass, then a week. Dinner with her mother looms closer. Claire tries to cancel twice. Her mother does not allow it. On the night of the dinner, Ethan arrives exactly on time. He wears a simple jacket, nothing extravagant. He brings flowers for her mother. He listens more than he speaks. At the table, her uncle makes a comment about careers and success, his tone sharp and deliberate. So, Ethan, he says, what exactly do you do? The room goes quiet. Claire tenses. Ethan sets his fork down gently. I run a company, he says. I prefer not to lead with it. Her uncle scoffs. That is convenient. Ethan does not rise to it. Success is only impressive if you use it well. The conversation shifts. The tension dissolves. Later, as they step outside, Claire finally asks. You could have said more, she says. You chose not to. Yes, Ethan replies, because tonight was about you. She stops walking. What are you hiding? She asks. He meets her gaze, serious now. Something I did not want to matter, he says, but it will soon. The truth comes out days later, not from him, but from a headline she did not expect to see. A photo, a name, a net worth she cannot process. Ethan is not just successful, he is a millionaire. Claire confronts him that night, anger and disbelief tangled together. You let me believe you were something else, she says. Was this all an experiment? No, he answers firmly. I did not test you. I hid myself. Why? Because I wanted to be chosen without it. Silence stretches between them. You should have told me, she says. I wanted to, he admits. But by then, it was no longer fake. She looks at him, really looks at him. This started as a lie, she says. Yes, he agrees. But what I feel now is real. Claire breathes in slowly. Then she makes her choice. If this continues, she says, there are no roles, no protection, no pretending. Ethan nods. That is all I want. For the first time since that night at the bar, the future feels uncertain and honest. The days after the truth come out feel heavier than the lie ever did. Claire keeps her distance. Not because she no longer cares, but because caring now feels dangerous. Every conversation with Ethan carries weight. Every glance feels like a question neither of them wants to answer too quickly. He gives her space. No grand gestures, no sudden appearances, just quiet consistency. When they do meet, it is different. There is no script anymore, no roles to hide behind. Just two people trying to decide if honesty arrived too late. One evening, Claire receives an invitation she cannot ignore. A charity gala, hosted by Ethan's company. Her name is on the list, +1. She stares at the screen for a long time. This is not accidental, this is not casual. She calls him. "I got the invitation," she says. "I know," Ethan replies. "I wanted you to hear it from me before anyone else did." "You want me there," she says. It is not a question. "Yes," he answers, "but only if you choose it." She closes her eyes. The gala is not just another event. It is public. It is visible. It is a room full of people who will see her standing next to him and make assumptions she cannot control. "I will go," she says finally, "but I need to be clear." "Go on," he says. "I will not be hidden," she continues, "and I will not be paraded." "You will be neither," Ethan says. "You will be my choice." The night of the gala arrives dressed in tension. Claire steps out of the car and is immediately aware of the difference. Cameras, valets in crisp uniforms, guests whose names appear in business magazines she pretends not to read. Ethan meets her at the entrance. No hesitation, no distance. He offers his hand, not as a signal, but as a question. She takes it. Inside, the atmosphere is polished and sharp. Conversations pause when they pass. Eyes linger longer than polite. Whispers follow. A woman approaches them, elegant and confident, her smile too practiced. "Ethan," she says warmly, ignoring Claire completely. "We were wondering when you would arrive." Ethan does not miss a beat. "This is Claire," he says. "She is with me." The emphasis is subtle but unmistakable. Claire feels it. So does everyone else. As the night progresses, the tests begin. Questions disguised as compliments, comments wrapped in curiosity, people trying to place her, categorize her, measure her worth. Ethan never leaves her side. When someone speaks over her, he redirects the conversation back to her. When someone underestimates her, he listens instead. When someone implies she does not belong, he makes it clear that she does. Then comes the moment Claire does not expect. During a speech, a board member makes a remark about image and legacy, his eyes briefly flicking toward her. Ethan stands before the applause can even begin. "My legacy," he says calmly, "is built on the people I choose to stand with." The room stills. "I do not need approval for that," he continues, "and I will not apologize for it." Claire feels the weight of every eye in the room. This is the moral test. He is choosing her, publicly, without protection. Later, outside on the terrace, Claire turns to him, her voice unsteady. "You did not have to do that," she says. "Yes," he replies, "I did." She searches his face for doubt and finds none. "This is not easy for me," she admits. "It does not have to be," he says, "but it has to be real." She looks out over the city lights, thinking about the night they met, the fake date, the rules, the promise to walk away. "This started as something fake," she says quietly. Ethan nods. "But staying fake would be the lie." She takes a slow breath. "I am still afraid," she says. "So am I," he answers. Claire turns back to him. "Then do not stand in front of me," she says. "Stand beside me." He steps closer, matching her pace. And for the first time since the truth came out, Claire feels steady enough to believe that what comes next will be chosen, not assumed. The backlash does not come loudly. It comes quietly, the way real damage usually does. Claire notices it first in the pauses, the conversations that stop when she enters a room, the smiles that do not reach the eyes, the invitations that no longer arrive. She tells herself it is nothing, that she is imagining it, until the article appears. It is not on the front page. It does not need to be. It lives in the business section, wrapped in neutral language and polite doubt. A headline about influence, a paragraph about proximity, a question disguised as curiosity. Sources close to the company suggest personal relationships may be affecting leadership decisions. There is a photo of Ethan leaving the gala, and beside him, Claire. No names, no accusations, just implication. Her phone starts ringing before she finishes reading. Her mother, her uncle, a co-worker pretending to check in. By the time Ethan calls, Claire has already stopped answering. She meets him that night, not at a restaurant, not in public, but at her apartment. The space feels smaller than it did yesterday. "You should not have come," she says as soon as he steps inside. "I needed to see you," Ethan replies. She holds up her phone. "This is what happens when I stand next to you." He looks at the screen, his jaw tightening. "This was not meant for you." "But it is about me," she says. "They are using me." He exhales slowly. Someone is trying to force a choice. "Well, congratulations," Claire snaps. "It worked." Silence falls between them, heavy and sharp. "This is why I did not want this public," she continues. "I did not ask to be part of your world." Ethan steps closer. "You are not part of my world. You are my choice." "That is easy to say," she fires back. "You can afford the fallout. I cannot." The words land harder than she intends, but she does not take them back. Ethan nods once. "Then tell me what you want." She turns away, fighting the urge to cry. "I want my life back," she says. "I want to stop feeling like I am being weighed and measured." "And me?" he asks quietly. She closes her eyes. "You were supposed to be temporary," she says. "That was the agreement." "Yes," he replies, "and we broke it together." The next day, the tension escalates. A board meeting is called. An agenda appears. A discussion about optics and responsibility. Claire hears about it from someone else, not from Ethan. That hurts more than the article. She confronts him that evening, her voice shaking with anger she has tried to swallow. "They are asking you to choose," she says, "and you did not tell me." "I did not want to put that weight on you," he answers. "You already did," she snaps, "by not trusting me with it." The distance between them grows, not because the feelings disappear, but because fear fills the space where honesty should be. At the meeting, Ethan stands alone. Questions are asked, concerns are raised, suggestions are made that sound reasonable until you hear what they really mean. Step back, keep things separate, protect the brand. He listens without interrupting, and when it is his turn to speak, he says only this: "I will not make decisions out of fear." The room shifts. That night, Claire packs a small bag, not to leave forever, just to breathe. She leaves a note on the counter. "I need time to decide who I am when I am not reacting to your world." Ethan reads it after she is gone. For the first time since they met, he does not chase after her. Because this time, choosing her means letting her choose herself. And both of them know what comes next will decide whether this story ends as a mistake they survived or a truth they were brave enough to stand behind. Claire stays away for 3 days. She does not check the news. She does not answer calls she knows will pull her back into the noise. She walks. She thinks. She remembers who she was before a fake date changed the shape of her life. On the 4th morning, she returns to her apartment to find an envelope slipped under the door. No logo, no signature, just her name, written carefully. Inside is a single card. "There is something I need to do today. I hope you will be there to see it. No pressure. Ethan." There is an address at the bottom. A time. Noon. Claire reads it twice. This could be another mistake, another performance, another situation where she stands exposed while the world watches. But it could also be the end of running. At 11:45, she arrives. The location is not glamorous. A converted warehouse near the river. Concrete floors, high ceilings, natural light spilling through tall windows. Inside, people gather quietly. No cameras, no press. Claire recognizes some faces from the gala. Board members, investors, the people who decide what stays and what disappears. Ethan stands at the front of the room. He looks different, not dressed down, not dressed up, just present. When he sees her, he does not smile. He does not wave. He simply nods, acknowledging her choice to come. The meeting begins. A board member speaks first, outlining concerns. Another follows, suggesting alternatives. Language carefully chosen to sound supportive, while erasing what matters. Then, Ethan steps forward. "I called this meeting to clarify something," he says calmly. "There has been speculation about my judgment." He pauses, letting the room settle. I built this company on principles I am not willing to trade for comfort. He looks around, then continues. I will not step back. I will not hide. And I will not separate my personal integrity from my leadership. Murmurs ripple through the space. If that costs me support, he adds, then it reveals support I do not need. Someone stands. Another follows. Voices rise. Ethan listens. Then he does something no one expects. He pulls a document from the table. My resignation, he says simply. Effective today, if this board believes my presence compromises this company. The room freezes. Claire feels her breath catch. This is not a threat, Ethan continues. It is clarity. Silence stretches. Finally, a senior board member speaks. You would walk away from everything you built? Ethan answers without hesitation. I would walk away from anything that asks me to abandon who I am. All eyes turn to Claire. She does not move. Not because she is afraid, because she understands. This is not about choosing her instead of power. It is about choosing truth over control. The board breaks for discussion. Minutes pass like hours. When they return, the decision is brief. Ethan stays. The narrative shifts. The article is addressed. The insinuations end. Afterward, the room empties. Only Claire and Ethan remain. He approaches her slowly. I did not do that to impress you, he says. I did it because pretending was worse than losing. She looks at him, steady now. You did not choose for me, she says. You chose yourself. Yes, he replies, and I hoped that would be enough. Claire steps closer. This started as a transaction, she says. Then it became a lie. Then it became a risk. She reaches out, taking his hand. Now, she continues, it becomes a choice. Ethan exhales, the tension leaving his shoulders. No more contracts, she says. No more saving face. He nods. Only what we are willing to stand behind, he replies. Outside, the city moves on, unaware that something real has just been decided. And for the first time since the night they met, nothing about what comes next feels fake. The city feels quieter in the days that follow. Not because the world has changed, but because Claire no longer feels like she is running to keep up with it. The headlines fade. The whispers lose interest. Life returns to its ordinary rhythm. One evening, Ethan asks her to meet him where it all began. The bar looks the same stools, the same low music, the same doorway where she once made a decision out of desperation. They sit side by side, not touching at first. Do you remember what you said to me that night? Ethan asks. Claire smiles faintly. I said it was strictly an arrangement, and that we would walk away afterward, he adds. Yes, she replies. I meant it. So did I, he says. They sit with that truth for a moment. This is not that anymore, Claire says finally. And I need to know something. Ask. If I had never needed a fake date, she says, would you still have seen me? Ethan does not answer quickly. I think, he says, I would have noticed you anywhere, but I might not have understood you. She nods. And I might not have trusted you. They laugh softly. Not because it is funny, but because it is honest. He reaches into his jacket and pulls out something small. Not a ring, not a grand symbol, just the folded agreement she handed him that first night. He places it on the bar between them. I kept it, he says, to remind myself how this started. Claire unfolds the paper, reading the words she barely remembers writing. 2 hours, one event, no expectations. She looks up at him. And now? She asks. Ethan meets her gaze. Now I want something that does not need rules, he says. Something that does not require pretending. She studies his face, searching for the power she once feared, the distance she once resented. She finds none of it. Only the man who stood beside her when walking away would have been easier. This will not be simple, she says. People will talk again. I know, he replies. And I will not always be comfortable, she continues. I would worry if you were, he says gently. Claire folds the paper and slides it back to him. Then let us make one thing clear, she says. No saving face, no playing roles. Ethan nods. Only showing up. She reaches for his hand, this time without hesitation. They leave the bar together, not as a performance, not as a statement, but as two people choosing the same direction. Weeks later, at a small dinner with friends who know them both, someone asks how they met. Claire glances at Ethan. He smiles. "It is a long story," she laughs, "and it started as a mistake. But," he adds, "it became a choice." Claire raises her glass. "To the things that start fake," she says, "and end honest." They clink glasses. No contracts, no disguises, no borrowed confidence. Just two people who stopped pretending long enough to recognize something real. And in a world obsessed with appearances, that turns out to be the most meaningful commitment of all.